And unfortunately, this has kind of a Texas two-step to it because that's their existing portfolio. But where I see the real pain coming, and not that other's not real pain because it's nasty, but
Yeah,
they
it is.
also stop lending.
Yes.
That's the one
And
that's
where do
gonna
they make most of their money, Michael? On
lending.
their lending. And they can't lend because they don't have the money to lend. They might have to hold more reserves because of what they think the fallout is going to be and the, projections of the fallout of what type of loans they may have to take back. They can't afford to lend out the money. And I work with a lot of different banks, small and large, depending on the type of asset. But I can tell you that part of the reason commercial real estate is coming to a halt is because the banks simply don't have the money to lend. They're saying your project is too big for us. And a lot of people don't
Yeah.
realize that these banks, they don't lend their own money only. They go out and they syndicate the loans. So they go out and they say, hey, you other 2 or 3 banks, we have someone that wants $10 million. We can give them 2. Can you each give them 2 or 3? We'll pool that money together and we'll share the profits of the loan. Well, now all these banks are no longer being able to find the money partners to lend on big loans. And, so they can't. And that's where their profit margins are. So to your point, it's a double whammy Texas two-step because they've got fleeing deposits, they've got assets they might have to write off, and they simply do not have the liquidity and the reserves to be comfortable to make loans. And this is before a recession has even started, Michael.
Yeah,
And
I
this
know.
is where, when people say, and I've read the comments and they're mostly really wonderful on the show, but you and I try to paint a realistic picture, not super sunshine and roses and not super doom and gloom. But the reality is we have a lot of pain coming. And when we say a lost decade, it's because of the reality and the breadth and the depth of this potential problem. When credit starts to squeeze, those who do have loans that think, well, okay, I may have to refinance them, but at least I can refinance them, from 4% over to 8%. They might not even be able to refinance them without putting cash into the table. So I can't even go to another lender and say, I have a problem with this loan. Will you refinance me out? They're going to go, we'll give you 55% LTV.
Yeah.
And so there's a cash crunch, and that makes it really difficult for, businesses that employ people, by the way, commercial real estate, apartments that have tenants, et cetera. It makes it really difficult for them to survive a recession when lending dries up, and it's already happening beforehand. And so that, to me, is a picture of the future, that when a recession is here and is declared, that lending is just going to get tighter and tighter. So that's a next domino that kind of falls along that, let's say, 2 years for recession, another year for the commercial loans to fall, maybe another year for the banks to start to really, see some pain. I mean, that's 4 years in, and that's before a recovery, which usually takes another 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.